In 1998, these gadgets were the future. They cost hundreds of dollars. They were in every home, every pocket, every bedroom in America. And now, they're gone, completely erased from existence. Your kids won't find them in stores. They won't know what they were. Some of these devices dominated entire industries and then vanished so completely that explaining them sounds like science fiction. One of them sold 150 million units. Another one was in 98% of American homes. Today, they're all landfill. These are 17 gadgets from 1998 that disappeared forever. And the stories of how they died are wilder than you remember. The pager. Let's start with the device that made you feel important. Before cell phones were affordable, before texting existed, there was the pager. And in 1998, over 40 million Americans carried one. Doctors had them. Drug dealers had them. Your cool older cousin had one clipped to their belt like a badge of honor. Here's how it worked for anyone too young to remember. Someone would call your pager number, punch in their phone number, and your pager would beep. That's it. That's all it did. It told you someone wanted to talk to you. Then you had to find a payphone, remember those, and call them back. But we turned it into a language. 911 meant emergency, call me now. 143 meant I love you. 1 letter, 4 letters, 3 letters. 823 was thinking of you. We created an entire coded communication system on a device that could only receive numbers. The pager industry was worth $6 billion in 1998. By 2002, it was basically dead. Cell phones got cheap, texting arrived, and suddenly carrying a device that could only receive, not send, seemed ridiculous. The pager went from essential to obsolete in 4 years. Today, only hospitals still use them, and even that's fading fast. The portable CD player, the Discman. The device that promised music on the go and delivered skipping, frustration, and arm cramps from holding it perfectly still. In 1998, a good portable CD player cost $150 or more. The anti-skip protection was a selling point. 45-second anti-shock memory, the box would scream, as if that was revolutionary technology. And it was, because without it, every step you took made the music jump. Walking? Skipping. Jogging? Forget it. Riding in a car on anything but perfectly smooth highway? Your CD sounded like a DJ having a seizure. You'd hold that thing like it was a bomb, trying desperately to keep it level while moving through the world. The size was absurd by today's standards. You couldn't fit it in your pocket, you'd clip it to your belt or carry it in your hand. The headphones had those foam covers that disintegrated into orange crumbs after 6 months, and you could only listen to one album at a time, whatever CD you remembered to bring with you. The iPod killed the Discman in 2001. 1,000 songs in your pocket versus one album in your hand. The portable CD player didn't stand a chance. By 2005, they were clearance bin items. By 2010, they were garage sale relics. An entire category of consumer electronics gone. If you ever held a Discman perfectly still while walking just to hear a song without skipping, you need to subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell too, because we're documenting the technology graveyard every week. And if you're enjoying this trip through the gadgets we lost, smash that hype button to help us out. Now let's talk about something that used to be in literally every car in America, the car phone. Before cell phones got small, there was the car phone, a telephone permanently installed in your vehicle. In 1998, this was a status symbol. If your car had a phone built into the center console, you were somebody. Business executives, doctors, lawyers, car phones screamed success. The handset looked like a regular phone receiver, connected by a curly cord to a base unit. Some had the keypad in the handset, others had it mounted on the console. The antenna was usually mounted on the trunk or rear window. You'd see cars driving around with these long black antennas, and you knew that person has a phone in their car. The calls were expensive. We're talking dollars per minute. This wasn't for casual chatting. This was for emergencies and important business calls. The phrase, "I'm calling from my car phone," was meant to impress people. It communicated wealth and importance. Cell phones didn't just make car phones obsolete, they made them embarrassing. Why would you have a phone that only works in your car when you could have one that works everywhere? By 2000, car phones were being ripped out of vehicles. The mounting holes were covered up. A symbol of success became a symbol of being behind the times. The Palm Pilot. This was the smartphone before smartphones existed. The Palm Pilot launched in 1996, and by 1998, it was everywhere. A tiny computer that fit in your hand. It had a calendar, contacts, notes, and a to-do list. It synced with your desktop computer. It felt like the future had arrived early. The interface was revolutionary for its time. You'd use a stylus to tap and write on a touchscreen. Primitive by today's standards, but mind-blowing in 1998. The handwriting recognition system called graffiti required you to learn a special alphabet of simplified letters. You'd write a weird symbol, and it would become a letter. We actually learned a new way to write just to use this device. Palm sold over 30 million units. Business people loved them, students used them. Your dad probably had one in his shirt pocket, checking his schedule and feeling like a tech pioneer. The iPhone killed Palm in 2007. Not immediately. Palm tried to compete with the Palm Pre and other devices, but the writing was on the wall. Why carry a separate device for organization when your phone did everything better? Palm went from industry leader to bankruptcy in less than a decade. The company that invented the PDA category couldn't survive the smartphone revolution it helped inspire. The fax machine. In 1998, the fax machine wasn't just common, it was essential. Every business had one. Many homes had one. If you needed to send a document to someone across the country, you faxed it. There was no other way. The process was ritual. You'd put your document face down on the machine, dial the recipient's fax number, wait for that horrible screeching handshake sound, and watch as your paper slowly feed through. On the other end, their machine would print out a copy of your document. Magic. Actual magic when you think about it. Sending paper through phone lines. What's your fax number was a question you asked constantly. Businesses printed fax numbers on their cards. Fax cover sheets were an art form. Templates with urgent checkboxes and spaces for handwritten notes. We killed forests printing fax cover sheets. Email didn't kill the fax machine immediately. Surprisingly, fax machines held on longer than they should have. Hospitals, law offices, and government agencies used them well into the 2010s. Some still do, which is genuinely insane. But for regular people, the fax machine vanished from homes completely. Try explaining to a kid today that you used to send paper through phone lines, and they'll look at you like you're describing witchcraft. The answering machine. Before voicemail existed on your phone, it existed in a box next to your phone. The answering machine. A physical device that sat on your counter, blinked a red light when you had messages, and played them out loud through a tiny speaker for everyone in the room to hear. The cassette-based ones were the real experience. A tiny tape inside would record incoming messages. You'd come home, see that blinking light, and press play. The machine would rewind, you could hear it whirring, and then play back every message in order. Your mom's friend asking about book club, a telemarketer, your crush leaving an awkward message that now everyone in your family heard because they were standing in the kitchen. No privacy, no skipping, no deleting before someone else heard it. If your answering machine took a message, everyone in the house potentially heard it. The number of relationships discovered, surprises ruined, and awkward moments created by answering machines could fill volumes. Digital answering machines came later, but they all died the same death. Cell phones got voicemail, then smartphones made voicemail visual. The answering machine, once in 98% of American homes, is now a prop in period movies. Kids don't even understand the concept of a machine answering your phone.
The camcorder. Home movies in 1998 required commitment. You needed a camcorder, a dedicated device the size of a small brick that recorded video onto cassette tapes. You'd buy the camcorder, buy the tapes, charge the battery, and carry this entire setup to every birthday party, vacation, and school play. The tapes were the real limitation. VHS-C, High 8, Mini-DV, different formats that weren't compatible with each other. You'd accumulate boxes of tapes labeled in Sharpie. Christmas, 1998, Disney trip, baseball game. Finding a specific moment meant fast-forwarding and rewinding through hours of footage. And the quality, by today's standards, unwatchable. Grainy, shaky, terrible audio, but it was precious. It was the only way to capture moving memories. Families treated the camcorder like sacred equipment. Don't touch dad's camcorder was a household rule. Smartphones killed the camcorder entirely. Why carry a separate device when your phone shoots better video? Why deal with tapes when everything saves to the cloud? Camcorders still technically exist, but they're niche professional equipment now. The consumer camcorder, the device that captured millions of family memories, vanished completely. All those tapes are sitting in boxes and attics across America, slowly degrading, mostly unwatched. The PDA. Not just Palm Pilot, the entire category of personal digital assistants died. In 1998, there were dozens of PDA options: Handspring, Sony Celia, HP iPac, Compaq, Scion. Companies battled for dominance in a category that would cease to exist. These devices were basically pocket computers. Some had tiny keyboards, some were stylus only. They ran different operating systems: Palm OS, Windows CE, Epoch. People argued about which was better with the same passion they'd later argue about iPhone versus Android. Business travelers loved them. You'd see people in airports tapping away on their PDAs, syncing calendars, checking contacts. The Cradle, a small stand that connected your PDA to your computer via cable, sat on desks everywhere. Syncing meant physically placing your device in a cradle and waiting while data transferred. The PDA market peaked around 2000, and then smartphones consumed it entirely. Not merged with it, consumed it, ate it alive. Within 5 years of the iPhone launching, no one was buying standalone PDAs. The companies either pivoted, were acquired, or died. An entire industry gone. The portable mini-disc player. Sony's MiniDisc was supposed to replace the CD. It was smaller, more durable, and recordable. In Japan, it was huge. In America, it was the format that never quite caught on, but had devoted fans who swore it was superior. The MiniDisc player was genuinely cool. The discs came in these small cases, smaller than CDs, more compact than anything else on the market. You could record your own mini-discs, making mix albums that didn't skip like burned CDs sometimes did. The players were sleek, often made of brushed aluminum. They looked futuristic. But MiniDisc arrived at the wrong time. It came after CDs were already dominant and before MP3 players made physical media irrelevant. It never achieved critical mass in America. Stores didn't stock mini-discs well, the selection was limited. Despite being better technology in many ways, it lost to momentum and timing. Sony discontinued mini-disc players in 2013, but they'd been dead for years before that. The format exists now only in the memories of audio enthusiasts who still swear it was underrated. They're probably right. Mini-disc was a better format that lost to worse timing. The electronic organizer. Before Palm Pilots, before smartphones, there were electronic organizers. These chunky handheld devices had tiny keyboards and small LCD screens. They stored contacts, calendars, and notes. They ran on AAA batteries, and in 1998, they were a legitimate productivity tool. Brand names like Rolodex, Sharp, and Casio dominated. The Sharp Wizard was iconic, a clamshell device that flipped open to reveal a keyboard and screen. You'd type in your contacts one letter at a time, laboriously building a digital address book. The phone number search function felt revolutionary. These weren't trying to be computers. They were trying to replace your paper planner and your Rolodex. That was the entire pitch. Stop carrying a physical calendar, carry this instead. For people who embraced them, they were genuinely useful. PDAs killed electronic organizers first, then smartphones killed PDAs. The electronic organizer represents the first stage of a technology extinction event. They were the ancestors of the smartphone, and like most ancestors, they're completely forgotten. Find one in a drawer today, and it feels like an archaeological artifact: the film camera. Point-and-shoot film cameras were everywhere in 1998. Not fancy SLRs, the simple automatic cameras that families used. You'd buy film, load it into the camera, take through 24 or 36 photos, and bring the roll to the drugstore for developing. A week later, you'd pick up your prints and see your photos for the first time. The experience is impossible to explain to kids today. You had no idea if your photos were good until days later. Overexposed, underexposed, someone blinked? Too bad. You wouldn't know until you got the prints back, and you still paid for the bad ones. Every exposure cost money to develop, whether it was a masterpiece or a blurry accident. Disposable cameras were huge. Kodak, Fuji. You'd buy a camera, use it once, and throw the whole thing away after developing. They were everywhere. Weddings, parties, tourist attractions. The idea of a disposable camera seems genuinely wasteful now, but they were incredibly popular. Digital cameras started killing film cameras in the early 2000s. Smartphones finished the job. Kodak, the company that dominated photography for a century, filed for bankruptcy in 2012. The entire film photography industry collapsed. It's coming back slightly as a hipster hobby, but consumer film cameras, the kind regular families used, are extinct. The portable TV. You could watch television anywhere.
Well, anywhere with good antenna reception, which was almost nowhere. But the portable TV represented freedom, the idea that you weren't chained to your living room to watch the game. These little screens ran on batteries or car adapters. They had extendable antennas that you'd position and reposition, trying to find a signal. The screens were tiny, usually 5 inches or less. The picture was often snowy, ghosted, or completely unwatchable, but when it worked, you could watch TV outside. Portable TVs were popular for tailgating, camping, and road trips. Dad would bring one to watch the game at a picnic. They'd appear at beaches and backyards, anywhere someone wanted to watch TV away from home. The signal issues meant constant fiddling. Turn it this way, no that way, hold it here, don't move. When broadcast television switched from analog to digital in 2009, old portable TVs became instantly useless. The signals they were designed to receive no longer existed. Millions of portable TVs became electronic bricks overnight. You can't even use them as decorations. They're too ugly. An entire category killed by a government mandate.
The beeper watch. Casio made a watch in the 1990s that could receive text messages. Let that sink in. Decades before smartwatches, before Apple Watch, before anyone thought about wearable technology, Casio made a watch that could receive text messages and pager alerts. The Casio Databank series was already impressive. Calculator watches, watches that stored phone numbers, watches with tiny keyboards for input. But the message-receiving watches were something else. They connected to pager networks and displayed incoming messages on your wrist. In 1998, that felt like science fiction. The screens were tiny LCD displays that could show a few lines of text. The messages were short by necessity, but the concept was ahead of its time, way ahead. Casio was making smartwatches before smartphones existed to connect them to. These watches died with pager networks. When cell phones replaced pagers, the watches had nothing to connect to. Casio stopped making them. The category lay dormant for nearly 2 decades until Apple and Samsung revived the smartwatch concept with modern technology. Casio proved the idea was viable. They just arrived 20 years too early. The home intercom system. New homes in the 1990s came with built-in intercom systems, wall-mounted units in every room connected by wires running through the walls. You could press a button, speak, and be heard in any other room. Rich people stuff, but it trickled down to upper-middle-class homes. The master station was usually in the kitchen. You could broadcast to all rooms or select specific ones. Dinner's ready would echo through the house. Come to the living room. The system often included a radio tuner and could pipe music through the house. Some had door stations so you could talk to visitors without opening the door. Kids used them for pranks, for spying, for pretending to be DJs broadcasting to the house. The systems were often abused until parents turned them off entirely. By the time you were a teenager, the intercom was probably disabled or ignored. Cell phones made them obsolete. Why use an intercom when you can text? Smart speakers finished them off. Alexa can broadcast to every room, play music everywhere, and do 1,000 other things. Built-in intercom systems are now architectural relics. New homes don't include them. Existing systems sit unused, their wall plates painted over or covered up. The electronic spell checker. Before spell check was built into everything, you had to buy it separately. Electronic spell checkers were handheld devices, about the size of a thick calculator, that did one thing: tell you if a word was spelled correctly and how to fix it if it wasn't. Franklin was the big brand. You'd type in a word, or your best guess, and the device would show the correct spelling. It included a basic dictionary and thesaurus. Students used them for homework. Writers kept them on their desks. Journalists carried them to interviews. The screen showed 1 or 2 lines of text. The keyboard was cramped and slow. Looking up a word took 30 seconds of pecking at tiny buttons. But it worked. Before Google, before smartphones, before Microsoft Word had reliable spell check, these devices had purpose. Built-in spell check killed the standalone spell checker. When your computer corrected your spelling automatically, why carry a separate device? When your phone autocorrected as you typed, the category became laughable. Franklin still exists, but the dedicated spell checker is a museum piece. The video game memory card. Saving your game in 1998 required physical media, memory cards, small plastic cards that plugged into your PlayStation or N64. Without one, your game progress vanished when you turned off the console. You'd have to start over every single time. Memory cards held precious data, hours of gameplay, unlocked characters, completed campaigns. Losing a memory card felt like losing a part of yourself. All that work, gone. And they did get lost. They were small, easily misplaced, easily borrowed by friends who never returned them. The capacity was laughable. A PlayStation memory card held 1 megabyte. That's not a typo, 1 single megabyte. You might fit 15 game saves if you were lucky. When it filled up, you had to delete old saves to make room for new ones. Choosing which game to erase was genuinely difficult. Built-in storage and cloud saves killed the memory card. Modern consoles don't need external cards for saves. Everything stores internally or in the cloud. The anxiety of corrupted memory cards, lost saves, and deleted data is something kids today will never understand. The memory card was both essential and fragile, and now it's completely gone. The all-in-one stereo system. Living rooms in 1998 had furniture-sized stereo systems, towers with multiple components stacked together, CD player, cassette deck, AM/FM tuner, amplifier, equalizer. 2 massive speakers flanking the stack. This was how you listened to music at home. The equalizer was the coolest part, those moving bars that bounced with the music, letting you adjust bass and treble across multiple frequencies. You'd fiddle with sliders, trying to make your music sound perfect. Every kid touched the equalizer when their parents weren't looking. These systems cost serious money. $300, $500, $800 for the good ones. They took up significant floor space. The remote controls had 30 buttons. Setting up the system, connecting speakers with bare wire, programming radio stations, configuring the tape deck was a full afternoon project. Smartphones and Bluetooth speakers killed the stereo system. Why dedicate living room space to audio equipment when a small speaker streams everything? Why buy CDs and cassettes when you stream unlimited music? The all-in-one stereo system went from centerpiece to Craigslist giveaway. They're not worth anything now. People can't even give them away.
17 gadgets that dominated 1998. 17 categories of technology that employed thousands of people, generated billions in revenue, and shaped how we lived our daily lives. All gone. Every single one replaced by the smartphone in your pocket. That one device, the smartphone, killed pagers, PDAs, portable CE players, camcorders, point-and-shoot cameras, electronic organizers, spell checkers, and more. It absorbed their functions like a technological black hole. What used to require a bag full of gadgets now requires a single device. The companies that made these products mostly don't exist anymore. Palm, bankrupt. Kodak, bankrupt. Radio Shack, gone. Sony's personal electronics division, a shadow of its former self. Billions of dollars in market value evaporated. But here's the thing about these vanished gadgets. They weren't bad, they weren't failures. They were the best solutions we had to the problems of their time. They represented genuine innovation, real engineering, actual human creativity solving human problems. They just got replaced by better solutions. And someday, the smartphone will be on a list like this. Some kid in 2050 will make a video about the primitive devices people used in 2024. They actually held screens in their hands? They typed on glass? How did they survive? Technology doesn't stop, it just keeps eating its ancestors. If you had any of these gadgets in 1998, drop a comment telling me which one you miss most. Subscribe for more tech nostalgia and share this with someone who remembers when gadgets couldn't fit in your pocket. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you want more extinct technology, check out our video on 12 websites from 1999 that no longer exist. Number 4 was visited by literally everyone, and now it's completely gone. See you there.